Imagine walking through a forest in late autumn. The canopy is bare, the air is sharp with the scent of pine and decay, and the life of the woods seems to be retreating into a long, silent sleep. But high above you, clinging to the bark of a dying oak, something impossible is blooming. It does not look like a plant. It certainly does not look like a common mushroom. It resembles a cascading waterfall of white icicles frozen in time, shimmering against the gray wood. For centuries, the folklore of the Asian highlands described this organism as a tonic for the soul, a substance capable of sharpening memory and forging nerves of steel. For decades, Western science dismissed these tales as mere mountain superstition. That changed when researchers discovered that this organism, Hericium erinaceus, contains a biological key, a key that unlocks the human brain's dormant ability to repair its own wiring. This is the story of the lion's mane. Long before modern labs confirmed its power, the mountain monk mushroom was already legendary. Its history is woven into the lives of the Yamabushi, a sect of ascetic hermit monks who practiced shugendo, a path of mountain worship and brutal physical endurance. These monks lived in the rugged wilderness wearing garments called suzuki that bore a striking resemblance to the shaggy cascading spines of the fungus they gathered. The Yamabushi consumed the mushroom as a tea to maintain an unwavering focus during weeks of meditation and to sustain their bodies while traversing treacherous peaks. To them, it was a tool for clarity, a way to sharpen the mind until it could cut through the fatigue of the flesh. In the courts of ancient China, it was known as hu-u, or the monkey head mushroom. While the reishi mushroom was revered as the bitter woody medicine of immortality, the lion's mane was something different. It was a culinary delicacy prized for its ability to fortify the shen, the spirit. Ancient texts like the Pen Sao hinted at its restorative grace, suggesting that those who consumed it possessed a vitality that the passage of years could not touch. Today, we understand the biochemistry behind the myth. Lion's mane contains two unique compounds, hericenones and erinacines. These are among the few substances small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier, where they stimulate the production of nerve growth factor. This is the protein responsible for the maintenance and survival of our neurons. In essence, it allows the brain to rebuild itself. To integrate this ancient wisdom into a modern life, one must follow the protocol of quality. Seek out dual-extracted extracts that utilize the fruiting body, where the concentration of hericenones is highest. Start with a daily dose of 500 to 1,000 milligrams, taken consistently in the morning to align with your brain's natural peak of neuroplasticity. By bridges the gap between the aesthetics tea and the scientist's capsule, we find a truth. The industry forgot what you eat determines how you think. If you are ready to reclaim your cognitive health and explore the lost foods of our ancestors, join us by subscribing to the channel. We are moving beyond the era of mental fatigue. We are returning to a time when the mind was as sharp as the mountain air and the shen, the spirit, was fortified by the very earth beneath our feet. Imagine the human mind not as a static machine, but as a vast internal garden. For decades, we believed that once the paths in this garden were worn away by age or injury, they were lost to the weeds of time. The 20th century viewed the brain's wiring as a fixed map, permanent, fragile, and ultimately declining. Deep in the misty mountains of Japan, the Yamabushi monks knew a different truth. They sought a cascading waterfall of white icicles frozen in time, clinging to the bark of dying oak trees. This was the lion's mane. They consumed it to sharpen the mind against the fatigue of the body, claiming it granted them nerves of steel and the focus of a predator. To the modern West, this was mere mountain folklore. Mushrooms were a garnish, a flavor, but never a medicine. That skepticism shattered in 1991. Dr. Hiyokazu Kawagishi, a Japanese researcher bridging the gap between ancient wisdom and biochemistry, isolated a biological miracle. He discovered specific compounds within the fruiting body hericenones. These weren't just nutrients, they were triggers. They possessed the unique ability to induce the synthesis of nerve growth factor, or NGF. To understand why this matters, you must understand the brain's ultimate defense, the blood-brain barrier. It is a biological fortress, a semi-permeable border that protects your gray matter from toxins. But this fortress is too effective. It blocks large regenerative molecules, including NGF itself. You cannot simply swallow a pill of nerve growth factor. The molecule is too heavy to scale the walls. This is where lion's mane performs its biological magic trick. It contains two families of low molecular weight compounds, hericenones in the fruit and erinacines in the mycelium. Because these molecules are small, they slip through the blood-brain barrier undetected. Once inside, they signal your own neurons to begin the work of self-repair. This isn't theoretical. In 2009, a rigorous double-blind study tracked 30 older adults facing the first shadows of cognitive decline. For 16 weeks, half the group took 3 grams of lion's mane powder daily. The data was undeniable. Their cognitive scores climbed steadily at week 8, 12, and 16. Yet the most telling result came after the study ended. 4 weeks after they stopped taking the mushroom, their scores plummeted back to baseline. The mushroom wasn't just a temporary mask, it was the active driver of their mental maintenance. Think of the most famous brain herb in the world, ginkgo biloba. Ginkgo is plumbing maintenance. It widens the pipes to increase blood flow. Lion's mane, however, is structural renovation. It stimulates neurite outgrowth, the physical extension and repair of the brain's actual wiring. To integrate this ancient key into your own biology, follow the established protocol. First, consistency is your only currency. The science suggests a daily intake of 3 grams of high-quality powder or a concentrated extract containing both the fruiting body and the mycelium. This ensures you receive both the hericenones for immediate support and the erinacines for long-term growth. Second, recognize that neuroplasticity is a slow burn. The 2009 study showed that the most significant gains appeared only after the second month. This is not a stimulant. It is a rebuilding process. Third, pair your supplementation with cognitive demand. Give your brain a reason to use the new connections you are growing. Learn a language, solve a complex problem, or master a new craft. What you eat determines how you think. By unlocking the human brain's ability to repair its own wiring, we move beyond the fear of decline. We return to the wisdom of the mountains, bridging the gap between the ancient Shen, the spirit of the mind, and the hard science of neurobiology. The key to your future focus may very well be hidden in an ancient waterfall of white spines. Hidden within the damp silence of ancient hardwood forests, a cascading waterfall of white icicles hangs frozen in time against the bark of a dying oak. This is not mere folklore. This is Hericium erinaceus, the lion's mane. For centuries, the Yamabushi monks trekked the rugged mountains of Japan, consuming this strange organism to sharpen their minds for meditation. Today, modern science is finally catching up to the myth, revealing a biological key that may unlock the human brain's ability to repair its own wiring. While our modern world has built its empires on the back of starch, relying on potatoes and corn that offer a meager 9% protein, nature has been hiding a far more potent fuel. Dried lion's mane is a powerhouse boasting 22% protein by dry weight. It rivals the density of legumes like chickpeas, yet it offers something no bean ever could: ergothioneine. This master antioxidant acts as a cellular shield standing guard against the oxidative storms that age our minds. We have spent decades looking for cognitive salvation in a laboratory, ignoring a neurological superfood that grows on the wounds of living trees. Finding this ancient key requires a shift in perspective. You must look where life meets decay. In the wild, from late summer through the turning of the leaves, the lion's mane reveals itself as a saprophyte. It feeds on the fading strength of maple, beech, and oak across the northern hemisphere. It fruits high upon the trunks of standing deadwood, a white ghost in the canopy. For the seeker, it is a merciful gift. Unlike the treacherous world of many wild fungi, the Hericium genus has no poisonous lookalikes. It is the safe entry point for those returning to the earth's wisdom. Whether it is the shaggy, cascading spines of the true lion's mane or the intricate branches of the coral tooth, all are edible. All are transformative. The protocol for the modern seeker is simple. If you forage, avoid the edges of busy roads or chemically treated landscapes. These mushrooms are mirrors of their environment, absorbing heavy metals and pesticides with aggressive efficiency. If the forest is out of reach, you can bring the forest to your kitchen. Lion's mane is an ambitious colonizer. By using verified genetic strains from dedicated laboratories like Northspore or Fungi Perfecti, you can witness the cycle of growth on your own counter. Watch for the moment of peak vitality. Harvest when the cascading spines are distinct, about half an inch long, and the body is a snowy ivory white. Do not wait for the yellowing of age or the dusting of white spores on the floor. You want the mushroom at its prime before the bitterness of maturity takes hold. What you eat determines how you think. By integrating this ancient fungus, we are doing more than just consuming nutrients. We are participating in an ancient relationship between human consciousness and the forest floor. Sharpen the mind against the fatigue of the body. Repair the nerves. Reclaim the Shen. The key has been hanging from the oak tree all along, waiting for us to remember how to use it. Deep in the shadows of the ancient forest, clinging to the bark of a dying oak, hangs a cascading waterfall of white icicles frozen in time. This is Hericium erinaceus, the lion's mane. For centuries, the Yamabushi monks of Japan wandered these mountains seeking more than just sustenance. They sought a way to sharpen the mind against the fatigue of the body, a biological key to unlock the spirit, or what they called Shen. Today, modern science is finally catching up to the folklore, revealing that what you eat determines how you truly think. We live in an age of constant distraction and neurological stress. While the industrial world offers prescriptions, the forest offers a legacy. This mushroom is a biological catalyst containing compounds like hericenones that have the unique ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, stimulating nerve growth factor and encouraging the brain to repair its own wiring. But to access this power, one must understand the ritual of the harvest. When you find a mature specimen, grasp the base and give it a firm twist, or use a clean blade to cut it flush against the wood. Here lies a secret of biological immortality. You can clone your finest find. By taking a sterile sliver of the inner tissue and placing it onto a nutrient medium, the mycelium regenerates. A single mushroom can theoretically produce enough spawn to inoculate hundreds of logs, a lifetime supply born from one encounter. However, power requires respect. Because the cell walls of the lion's mane are built from chitin, a tough structural polymer humans cannot digest. Eating it raw is a medicinal waste. To unlock the compounds within, you must apply heat or use a dual extract tincture. In the kitchen, treat it with the reverence it deserves. Do not wash it. Mushrooms are sponges that dilute their own essence. Instead, brush away the forest debris and shred the body with your fingers. It will pull apart into chunks that mimic the texture of lump crab meat. Begin with a dry sauté. Place the shreds into a hot pan without oil. As the natural water evaporates, you may hear a faint squeaking. This is the sweat. It concentrates the flavor and begins to break down those stubborn chitin walls. Only once the edges turn golden and the water is gone should you introduce your fats, butter, ghee, or oil alongside crushed garlic and fresh herbs. Sauté until it reaches a savory seafood-like richness that is unique in the natural kingdom. A final word of caution for the seeker. This is a potent biological tool. It modulates the immune system and can influence blood clotting. If you are on blood thinners, managing diabetes, or navigating an autoimmune condition, consult with your physician. This is not for those with mushroom allergies, and it is not a replacement for professional medical advice. By bringing this organism back into our lives, we are doing more than just cooking a meal. We are participating in a heritage that has sustained monks and emperors for a millennium. We are reclaiming our cognitive sovereignty. If you're ready to sharpen your mind and return to the garden, join us. Subscribing ensures you won't miss the next key to the natural world. I'll see you in the forest.